Economics, Chapter 4, Section 2. In Section 1, we covered the basics of the demand curve, the law of demand, demand schedule, and how they work together. In Section 2, we're going to talk about something called a shift in the demand curve. In this section, we're focusing on external elements rather than the price itself when it causes a shift in the demand. So we're going to start with a question. What would cause you to miss a movie with your friends? So let's say you had plans to go out Friday night with your friends. Something happens. And we're going to say it has nothing to do with the price. Something else has happened. Probably at this point you have something in your mind that would cause you to miss the movie. Maybe it's weather conditions. Maybe it is someone else was invited that you don't get along with. Maybe it's you read a bad review about the movie, or whatever it might be. There would be something that causes a shift in your decision making. And that's what we're focusing on here in this section. So what we're finding is a shift of the entire quantity purchased. We're focusing on a phrase called ceteris paribus, which means all things are held constant. So whenever we do a demand curve in a schedule, it's really a snapshot in time of that very moment. So if I were to ask you the question, how much you'd be willing to pay for a pair of shoes, you would have a price in mind. I could ask you in a year from now, and the price might be different. Same question, ceteris paribus, all things are constant at that very second, but things change over a period of time. And it's not the price, it's the other elements. Maybe it's you got a new job, or maybe you saved money, or maybe you lost your job, or maybe you just don't like shoes anymore, you want to wear sandals all the time, or whatever it might be. Now, what causes a shift? As we said, price does not cause a shift. It's external elements that happen. So for instance, we have an increase or decrease in income could have this. Let's say that you're working a part-time job, and then all of a sudden your boss says, okay, we're letting you go, we don't need you anymore. Well, that's going to have an impact on your income, and then we have something that takes place from buying normal goods to inferior goods. So let's say you have your favorite cereal, whatever that is, and now you buy the brand name stuff, whatever it is. Now you can't afford that anymore, so now you have to buy an inferior good. So buying something that is not as elite when it comes to this. So maybe now in your life, you're a senior, you get to enjoy mom and dad's groceries that they have. Well, your groceries you're going to have in college may not be the same. You may be going from real fresh produce to having canned fruit or whatever it is. So normal to inferior. Next slide. You're going to find this question on your test. And I'm not going to answer it for you, but this is one you need to start thinking about. How does ethanol affect your food prices? Now, E85 has been around for a little while now, and it has made an impact on food prices. I want you to research and look into the question of how does ethanol affect your food prices? And then on your test, you will be answering this question based on information that you're able to find. What else causes a shift? Consumer expectations, predicting the future. High prices in the future can cause immediate demand, low price in future demand. So for instance, when a company holds a commercial of trying to get people to buy into their product, whatever it is, they have a promotion trying to get people to buy it immediately. So they might say for immediate time only. So the whole idea of when this is taking place. Another example is if you know low prices are going to be in the future, you are going to wait. So let's say that it is Tuesday, the day before Thanksgiving, and you plan on going out on Black Friday. Well, you wouldn't go out on Tuesday because there would be not enough incentive there because you know prices are going to drop on Black Friday. So consumer expectations is another one. Another one could be population. Growth will cause the demand to change. So after World War II, we had the baby boom that took place. 1946, 1964. We had a tremendous increase in population of babies. So throughout their generations, we have found that from baby diapers to baby food to elementary schools to middle school to high school and now colleges, and now these baby boomers are in retirement. There has been an entire shift that has taken place throughout their entire life. So population can also take place in this. Demographics. Demographics is another part of this. So depending on where you live can cause a shift as well. If you were to travel north to Canada, you would find that all their products have 2 languages on it. This is because they speak English and French up there. And as a result of that, they're trying to cater to the different demographics. And even the stores that you would find maybe in the middle of a cornfield somewhere, a small urban town, would be different than what you'd find in Twin Cities. So even that could cause a shift that would take place. These potential customers, packaging, pricing, advertising, everything goes into it, trying to gear the demographics. If you look even at billboards that are around different parts of the city versus out in the suburbs, you'll find that the characters or actors they have on that are all different, geared for this demographics. Consumer taste and advertising. A trend or a fad can have a major shift in different things. Social media plays a big part in this. Video advertising is a big one when it comes to all this because people are more apt to watch a video than they are to read an article. So it's just trends and fads and things that have taken place. Billions of dollars are spent on social media sites because they know this is what people buy into, what they look at. So these fads can't always be explained, but they're always something that can create a shift that would take place. So if we were to create a project in the class, create a fad, and see how many students you get to carry on with that, you would get a chance to experience this as a trend, how it would have a shift in this. So maybe all of a sudden everyone in the class starts writing reviews and glorifying an item on a la carte or school lunch, one school lunch, and everyone just focuses on that. It'd be interesting to see if there would be an actual shift on that. So trends and fads. And then we have the law of diminishing marginal utility. This is where a fad or a demographic or a population, it will have an opposite effect. Where you hear it so many times, when you look at it so many times, it will then have a decrease in the consumption of something. For instance, we have the picture here of the song that has been played over and over and over again. As a result, when it first came out, very popular. People wanted to listen to it. Within not very long, a lot of people stopped listening to it because it was just so aggravating and just so many people were into it. It's kind of like a new song on the radio. You listen to it the first time, you want to hear it over and over and over again, and then it just gets old. I ran an experiment with a student a few years ago where I had them, they had this like cheap middle school, elementary flute, plastic thing. And he figured out a way to play a song on it. And it was a song that was very common that everyone knows. But he figured out how to do it, and I heard him playing it, and I asked him to be a part of this experiment. So what we did is we recorded him playing this. And then I wanted to test the law of diminishing marginal utility. So during my economics class, I began to play the recording of him playing quietly in the background and continue to go and go and go and loop. I just continue to play the loop and loop the song, and no one was able to figure it out. So within 2 minutes, people were starting to say, okay, is he out in the hall? Where is he playing this? 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. People are getting aggravated and start yelling out in the hallway to ask him to stop. We got 6, 7, 8 minutes. By minute 11, I had students leaving the classroom trying to find the student playing his instrument. And so the 11 minute was kind of that. And it was a great teaching moment to demonstrate that, hey, law of diminishing marginal utility is when you hear it so often, you use it so often, you know, when you go to a buffet, your first plate doesn't taste the same as your last plate. So this is the law of diminishing utility. And this is the last slide for section 3. One good can help or hurt in change in demand causing a shift. So we have complements and we have substitutes. Now, I like to use the example of skiing. For complements for that, you would have your ski poles, you'd have the skis, and then there's different equipment you'd wear for this. Versus a snowboard is a substitute to skiing. So goods that are used in place of another or goods that are bought and used together. So when it comes to even with businesses are constantly trying to look for not substitutes to their items, but more complements to be able to have a wider range of their products that they serve. This is Chapter 4, Section 2, On Demand.